A common myth is that the use of telescopes caused Galileo Galilei to go blind. The true cause for the loss of Galileo's eyesight was cataract and glaucoma. He was 72 when he started to lose his eyesight, and he was 48 when he began to study the sun using telescopes. He was aware of the dangers of studying the sun directly, and had developed a projection technique to study the sun in detail. He also studied the sun when it was near the horizon at sunset and sunrise. His findings of the Galilean moons were after his study of the sun, therefore, the study of the sun using telescopes did not cause his blindness. The true inventor of the telescope is a little confusing, but Hans Lippershey, a Dutch eyeglass maker, is credited with having invented the telescope. It is confusing to who invented the telescope because Zacharias Janssen was also an eyeglass maker in the same town. Some think that Lippershey stole the idea from Janssen, and others think that he got it from some children playing with lenses in his shop. Lippershey is given the credit of inventing the telescope because of his application for the patent, and Janssen is given the credit for inventing the compound microscope. It becomes even more complicated because of Jacob Mentis. Mentis, also a Dutchman, put in a patent application for the telescope only a few weeks after Lippershey. The government ended up turning down both patent applications due to counterclaims and the fact that it was easy to replicate. Mentis got a small reward, but Lippershey was paid to reproduce his version of the telescope, which had a magnifying power of 3. Galileo had his own version of the telescope, which he built himself, having never actually looked at a telescope. He'd only heard about them and built one using trial and error. His friends convinced his government to wait because they believed Galileo could engineer a better version. He did. His version worked a lot like opera glasses. He started off only being able to achieve a magnifying power of 8. Lippershey had only had a magnifying power of 3. Soon he began to grind his own lenses and play with the array of the lenses. He was able to increase the magnifying power from 8 times to 10 times that of normal vision. Although the field of vision was narrow, by January 1610 Galileo's telescope had a magnifying power of 30 times that of a normal human's. His telescope was a prototype of a refractor telescope, and is still around. It is being taken care of in Italy. His discovery includes the 4 Galilean moons, as well as the fact that the moon is not smooth. The lunar surface was rough and full of cavities. Even though his telescope could only view a quarter of the lunar disk without having to be repositioned, it was a major discovery. He also discovered spots on the sun, little bumps near Saturn, which were the outlines of its rings, and that Venus changed from a dull disk to a crescent, therefore the phases of Venus. These findings were all published in the Starry Messenger. After the release of the Starry Messenger and his support of the heliocentric theory by Nicholas Copernicus, Galileo was met by much opposition from the Catholic Church. The Church banned him from teaching, defending, and holding anything related to heliocentric ideas. In 1916, he proposed the theory of tides, which he used as evidence to support the fact that the Earth was moving. Also, he proposed the theory of comets, and in 1632, Galileo published the Dialogue Concerning the Two Chief World Systems, which defended heliocentrism, and it was very popular. He was tried in 1633 by the Roman Inquisition, and was found to be vehemently suspect to heresy, and sentenced to indefinite imprisonment. He was kept under house arrest for the rest of his life. With advancements in lens technology after the 1500s, people began to use polished glass to create their lenses. The lenses that were used in the creation of the telescopes were concave and convex lenses. Refractor telescopes now use 2 convex lenses, while Galileo's used a convex lens for the objective lens and a concave lens for the eyepiece. The switch to mirrors was made because the mirrors are lighter, and telescopes now are much larger than telescopes in Galileo's times. Telescopes now have a Newtonian design, named after Isaac Newton, who made the first reflecting telescope using mirrors in 1668. The telescopes now dominate the field of astronomy.